All right, I'm gonna do some mods today. One I've already done. I'm gonna show you what I did and talk about it, and then we'll talk about what we're gonna do for the rest. I don't have a convenient way. There's no real good place for me to attach the GoPro here to get it while I'm working. I mean, I'll try to dick around with it a little bit if I can, but I might have to just do some of the work, explain what I'm gonna do, stop the camera, go do the work, come back and show you the end result. First thing I did was, obviously we've already done the high flow, increasing the airflow on the front end by opening up all these holes so that it can breathe, because the stock air intake is a cold air intake. So we've increased that. We put in the higher flow K&N filter that sits in like that. But then there was also this charcoal thing that sat here, and it restricted. So even though you got this bigger height, you got this higher flow filter, it then had to breathe through another filter called the charcoal or carbon filter. Now that had nothing to do with filtering the air. Removing it will not do anything. It is an emissions thing. So what that was an emissions thing, so that because you have the Gen 3 Coyote has port injection as well as GDI, it will also, if there's any fuel in the ports that evaporates, that charcoal thing would absorb and capture that. So that's why they put that in there. By just popping off those tabs and removing it, you now have a bit more unrestricted flow through there. I watched, it was Unrestricted Engineering or Engineering Explained, one of those things where they went through and he played with it on the dyno. Granted, it wasn't on a Mustang, but he, the concepts are the same. But he did it on like a Subaru Crosstrek or something, and he picked up 2.5 to 3 horsepower by getting rid of that. So I figured, why not? If it's only there for EPA compliance, mainly for California, I don't live in California, don't care, got rid of it. Also, there was like this waffle thing here. I got rid of that. So it's now very smooth, unrestricted airflow coming through the filter, because remember, this will be inverted, and then going straight through, no impedance to the MAF sensor. So that was the first mod that I did. I'll put that all back together. The next thing I'm going to do is, now that we've done the exhaust, a lot of car companies are making the cars sound better than they do by piping in sound. Lexus even will go through and pipe the sound of a motor revving into the speakers. And that way, to the driver, it's like, wow, my car sounds cool, but it doesn't have to worry about noise regulations outside the car. So it's a bit of a placebo. So what I'm going to do, now that I've got the exhaust loud and I've got the intake a little noisier, by getting rid of all these restrictions, this is the sound tube that pipes the sound through the firewall. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this off. We're going to cap off the hole here, because you can't have, that's after the filter, so you don't want to have that open and sucking in unfiltered air. So we're going to cap that off with a rubber cap, a vacuum cap, and we're going to use black RTV to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. This plumbing and all this crap, there's this over here, all this stuff, we're going to get rid of all that and open up and just clean this up a little bit and get rid of that. Everything you read about this tells you it is a bitch to get to, because you got to get down a 10mm bolt way the hell down there, and you can see how threaded that thing is. You're going to sit there for 10 minutes doing 1/8 of a turn at a time, if you can even get your hand down in there. I've read that you can just yank this thing out. It'll pull over the rubber grommet, and as long as you don't want to put it back, who cares? So this is going to pop out here. We're going to unplug it here, and then we're just going to yank the whole thing out. And then what we're going to do is put in I've got a rubber grommet. So here's the plug that's going to plug. It's a 1 inch on the inside. That's what's going to plug this hole right here. I'm going to seal it up with some black adhesive Permatex. That's going to come out, and then we've got somewhere another bag of stuff. This will be, let's see, we've got these. I don't know which one is going to fit, so I just bought both of them, but one of those will fit, and that'll seal up the hole in the, in the firewall. So one of those will go in there. Then we're going to install the catch can. Technically, the Coyote, the Gen 3 Coyote, doesn't need the catch can, but I already have it. I already had a bunch of OEM connectors. So I got 6 feet of 5/8 inch hose. From what I've read, this one, it's just, if I open this up and I pull it in, I've never seen any oil in there. I'm not going to worry about that one. They said the driver's side is clean. This one is using manifold vacuum pressure to pull air out of the crank. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off this, and you can see there's oil all on that. Now, because this does also have port injection, it's not supposed to be a problem, but I have it, so I'm just going to throw it on anyway. What the hell? So what we're going to do is we're going to take off this hose, and again, you can see the oil all over that. And we're going to have to remove the cross brace because I'm going to need to get that down in there. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to use these OEM style connectors to just click on. And we're going to use the 5/8 inch hose, and we're going to hook up to our oil catch can, which has a really fine steel wool filter, multi-chamber, and then a piece of a bigger chunk of heavy steel wool down the bottom to keep stuff from sloshing around. And we're going to see where we can mount that. We're going to mount that up in there, maybe up in here. The problem is I need to get it somewhere where I can unscrew it and have easy access to it. So it may end up going right there. So I'll come back and we'll splice it all together as we go through the progress here of cutting the hoses to fit, finding out which OEM connectors work. Looks like this one might work with a straight one, or maybe with a slight bend. That could work. I'll probably use that one. So figure out which ones I want to use. Probably use that one over there. And we'll come back and look at the finished result and go over everything that once we've done it. So we'll see you shortly. Okay, got the airbox button back up, make sure everything's plugged in, make sure everything's seated properly and tightened. My plug is working fine there. I am going to apply some black RTV in there just to make sure that it just kind of glue it in place, but it'll be easy to tear and undo if for some reason you need to. This is the sound tube. We don't need that anymore. We have a properly loud exhaust with the new X pipe and stuff, so I don't need that droning or any of that extra noise in the cabin to make it sound like it's cool. So we've got this all out. Weighs about 1 pound or 2. Not much in the grand scheme of things, but see how now, like, the other reason why I want to remove this, getting to the dipstick with this brace on here and all this crap down in here, this thing here sat right there. You couldn't get to the damn dipstick. Now I can, much easier. This, get rid of it, don't need it. So now what we've got to do, and I'll probably have to wait until the engine's cooled down a little bit, but if you look down in there, you'll see, look where the white is, you'll see that there is a black hole right there. I just have to get one of my grommets down in there to plug that hole. So we've got 2 of them, one of them will fit. So while the engine's cooling, so I don't burn the shit out of my hand, we're gonna now focus on over here and start thinking about where do I want to mount my catch can. So I'm gonna have to look at, I've got some brackets. I need to just keep it from bouncing around. So either I could zip tie it to something if I wanted, like that. That's not going to go anywhere, or I could mount a bracket maybe to one of these holes down here. So I'm going to go monkey around with this for a few minutes and see what I can come up with. Once I found a good place to mount it, then I can say, okay, how do I need to route the hose? How much hose do I need? What angles am I going to want to use as far as these connectors? Like I said, I believe that one's probably going to work there, or this one. We'll figure that part out. I've got a bunch of these, and I've got some more in the garage. So we'll figure all that out. Once I figured out a place to mount that, we'll talk about how I did it and where to mount it and all that stuff. And yeah, we'll be back. And we're back. And so what I've done now is I've decided for now to hold off on the catch can because I can't find a good place to locate the damn thing. If I put it here, it's kind of too close to this, and it was, with the hose, didn't want to flex because it's a good size hose. It was putting pressure. I mean, these are plastic mounts, and it was kind of, you know, here they just kind of lay and there's nothing putting any pressure on them. Mounting it here, because it was trying to bend the hose no matter what length I cut it, it was putting pressure on this, and I don't want to break any of these plastic tabs off and cause a problem. So I could mount it somewhere up in here, but then getting to it's a pain in the ass. I'd have to take all this stuff off to get in there and check it, and it'd be hard to unscrew and get to it, you know, because the hoses would be here, the lid would be here. I wouldn't have access to it. So I'm gonna have to noodle on this one for a little bit. If I decide to get one, and I guess technically, again, it's not really needed on this particular car because it does have port injection to keep the valves clean. So I may be worrying over nothing. I figured I had it here. Maybe I won't put it in. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put it in that which doesn't have port injection, and I know there's so much room up in the engine bay on that thing. Here we're kind of limited for space, so if I get one, maybe I'll just get the Ford Performance one that is made to drop in, so the hoses are bent at the right, so it's not putting pressure on anything, and it just drops right in there or wherever it goes, and that's the end of it. All right, what else? Anything? Everything's all buttoned up. Airbox, after our mods is all put back together, I got the grommet up in the firewall. It literally, you just reached my hand in. Once I got this thing out of the way, I was able to just reach in there and boop, pop it in. So I'll go for a drive, see how it sounds. Actually, I'll take you guys for a ride. What's that Memphis? Oh, that must be for the amplifier and stuff. I was like, wait a minute, what is all that shit? That must be for the 12-inch sub we had installed. So I'm going to button all this up, and we'll go for a quick ride and see how it rides and sounds, see if we notice a difference. I don't know if I will. I just like having it clean, and it's just with a loud exhaust. If nothing else, it's just not necessary, and it opens this area up, easier to get to stuff. I feel like air will flow through here better, a little bit cooling, and I can also now get to the damn dipstick without having to move crap out of the way. So for that alone, I feel like it's worth it. That part was like $4.90 at whatchamacallit. Well, maybe it was $8 with both of these. So I've got the cap, and then I had the plug. So anyway, we'll go for a ride. All right, let's see if we can get this set up. All right, guess that'll work. So now it's gonna go for a little test ride and see how we like it. Sounds good. Put it in sport mode. Let's see. Don't need AC. Let's get rid of all that, and let's put our exhaust mode into track mode. Let's go for a quick spin. All right, what do we see here? So it's always hard with things with sound because you can probably chalk a lot of it up to placebo. I will say though, the cabin sounds a little quieter. I mean, they put that whole freaking apparatus in there for a reason, right? They put that sound tube in there so that to the driver, it's like, ooh, it sounds good, right? My car sounds cool. But they don't have to worry about it being too loud. Here's my buddy John.
What's y'all doing?
Interrupting my goddamn YouTube video.
What?
Interrupting my YouTube video.
Oh, you're making a YouTuber?
Yeah, there's John. What's up, John?
Well, now all the lights are going to shine on me. You're just going to be jealous.
I know, you're going to steal my thunder.
Is that John Tilley you passed?
I think so. Now they know.
What are you doing? We're doing some recording?
Yeah, just going around. I just did a couple little quick mods, and now I'm doing a little review of it.
Oh, mods.
Because people want to know.
Oh, you did some modifications already, David.
I think I did modifications the first day. I got home and I was like, what can I start tearing apart?
Yeah, you were great at that.
Dude.
Good there. It sounded better coming out.
It does.
What'd you do?
X-pipe.
I don't know what that is.
It's a resonator delete. Watch my other video.
Got me pulling me in.
I need more subscribers. All right, buddy. We'll see you. There's Mr. John Tilley. Oh, and there's a car coming. All right. Anyway. So they put that in there. Oh, it sounds lovely. That's the X-pipe. So they put that whole apparatus in there because they want the cars to sound good. It's an oral, not oral, but oral, AU, hearing, experience, right? You want to be in a car, you want it to sound like a sports car and a muscle car. The problem is the EPA and other government agencies have limits on, how many decibels at certain RPM, all that kind of stuff. So how do you make it sound better to the consumer and the buyer so it sounds like a proper sports car without running afoul of the law? Well, Lexus and some companies, they put it in to the, in through the stereo system. Tesla does that. So a lot of companies are putting that little extra sound into the speakers, and that way outside the car it doesn't sound any different. They don't run afoul of compliance. Let's stop in here. Oh, good noise, lovely noise. So, oh, I can't wait to take this to Vengeance Racing and get some real work done to it, get some more power out of it. But, yeah, and I'm going to need better tires. I got the ones that are on there, they're the P0s. I mean, they're not awful tires, but they're run flats. And they're like 255 width in the front, 275 in the back, but it's a 9 and a 9.5 inch wide rim. So I think before I start running into fitment issues, I can go up to a 275 in the front and a 295 in the back. I'm not going to do summer tires because it does get cold in Georgia, and I don't want to, in the winter months, I don't want to worry about grip in the winter, so I'll get all seasons. But they'll probably be like Michelin Pilot Sports or something better than what I've got. In a wider tire, get some more grip shit, however you want to look at it. But that's what we've got. So I noticed that what I am hearing is from the back. Let's go ahead and put the windows up. I'm hearing popping and crackling coming from the back, but I'm no longer really hearing noise from the front. It's not a massive difference, like you're going to go, oh my God. But if you've got the thing set up with exhaust, you're getting a little more intake noise because of the modifications to the airbox and stuff like that. Or if you go with a cold air intake, you'll get that. But you've got more exhaust coming, noise coming from the back. You just don't need it. And like I said, the biggest thing was it cleans up the look up front. I got rid of the plastic engine cover with the 5.0. I want to see the intake manifold, and I don't mind seeing hoses and fuel rails and stuff. Also, plastic adds as a barrier, and maybe it traps in heat and stuff, so letting air flow more across the top of the motor. Anything I could do to clean out that engine compartment to make it easier to get to stuff, like plugs or whatever, or get to the dipstick, something you got to check periodically, and not having to fight and move hoses and stuff out of the way. So that was one of the reasons to get rid of it. But it did clean it up in there. I'm going to figure out what to do about the oil catch can. The more I think about it, I just don't think the Mustang really needs it. I had the thing already. I'd ordered it before I knew that the Gen 3 kind of did away with the need for it. But maybe if I'm going to be riding around hard all the time, and I'm going to be maybe doing some track days, maybe I'll want to do it. But what I'll probably do is go get one that's cut and the hoses are angled to fit. Ford Racing makes one, so I figure I could throw that on there, and if there was ever an issue with a warranty or something, I'd be like, well, it's your part. You designed it. So yeah, in the cab it's nice and quiet. There's no droning. I mean, I'm droning on and on, but nothing from the motor. The exhaust, the X-Pipe is nice. It gives it a really racy kind of sound. But it's not obnoxious. I get a little popping and crackling on D-cell. Not much. And when I'm just cruising along and I ease up off the gas, and so I let it kind of shift up into a higher gear, you hear the little bit of rumble in the background. And that's really about it. There's not much else going on. And if you do need it to be quiet, now I'm in quiet mode. Might as well be riding a Ford Taurus, driving a Ford Taurus right now. It just sounds, you hear just the slightest hint. I mean, you can tell it's a V8, but man, it really does, that valve really does mute things. Big difference, big difference. So there you have it. Those are today's mods. Got rid of that thing. You don't have to go buy a kit. You just need 2 plugs to get rid of that sound tube. Showed you how easy it was. Just go and cap. I tried to look for the vacuum caps. I just couldn't find one that was 1 inch, and I wanted to do this today while the weather was decent and I had some time. But you could go on Amazon and buy a 1 inch outer, inner diameter to slide over that and just plug it that way. I got one that fit in because that's all I could find. And then I'll throw the part number down for the, I just got it from O'Reilly Auto Parts, but you can pick it up anywhere. It was a firewall plug. It was for what was it for? Something about master cylinder seal. Oh, I don't know. But it just went and popped in and stuck in. So effectively I've sealed the hole in the firewall. Don't have to worry about critters getting in there, or dirt or dust or anything, water. But you could do that removal yourself for less than 10 bucks with 2 plugs from your local auto parts store, or Ace Hardware, or whatever. So anyway, that's today's mods from Uncle Dave, as we try to add some more car content to the channel. Soon we'll be doing Harley content for Nana's bike. I should hopefully have my Corbin seat in a few weeks for the Tracer. Hopefully that fixes my comfort issues, and we'll tweak the bar or replace that. I've already got a bar in order, and hopefully I won't have to go buy a new bike for it to be comfortable. The issue is, maybe it's not the bike. The Tracer may be fine. Maybe I'm just getting old and some old injuries are catching up to me and my back is starting to give me problems. This may be a Dave issue and not a bike issue. But anyway, those will have their own videos. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to everybody soon. You got any questions on what I did, let me know. Peace out.